Home and away spoilers. Rue leaves Summer Bay as she reunites with Ryder. Next week on Home and Away in the UK, Rue says goodbye to Summer Bay as she joins Ryder on his cruise ship, while Bronte hatches a plan to sue the diner. As Irene and Leah face potential ruin following the recent health crisis at the Pier Diner, conwoman Bronte spies an opportunity. Irene has taken Bronte, who she believes to be suffering from a terminal autoimmune disease, into her home after meeting her at a hospital in the city, but it soon became clear to the viewers that it was all a big scam. Bronte later slipped into conversation that there was a clinical trial taking place in Canada that could give her a chance at survival, though it would cost $100,000. Irene took the bait, and soon the Bay began fundraising. Xander suggested they set up a crowdfunding page and the donations have been rolling in, with Irene donating $1,000 herself and Salt adding a further $2,000 to the pot. Meanwhile, the diner was forced to close after it became apparent that it was the source of contamination that had made several residents ill, including John and Marilyn. Subsequent investigations from the health authority revealed that benzene, present in the insulation surrounding a leaking pipe, had seeped into the water supply, leaving a hefty cleanup job for Leah and Irene. The entire space would need a deep clean, having been exposed to contaminated water, and all taps and seals would need to be replaced. Next week, having been absent from the beach house during her isolation at the hospital, Dana spends a morning getting to know new housemate Bronte. Naturally, as a healthcare professional, Dana is keen to hear all about Bronte's condition and the medical trial, but Bronte is a little vague as she explains she isn't up on the medical jargon. When they then immediately run into Dr. Bree, Bronte must be beginning to regret coming to Summer Bay. She may have got ex-paramedic Xander fooled, but living with a nurse and now in close proximity to the head of emergency, the days of her scheming must surely be numbered. Avoiding further conversation with Bree by saying she's suddenly feeling a little unwell, Bronte heads to the diner with Dana. When they arrive, Irene is on the phone to a solicitor representing Joseph, the customer who was taken ill last week and rushed to the hospital after being found semi-conscious outside the diner. He informs a devastated Irene that Joseph is suing the diner, seeking $50,000 in compensation. Irene relays the news to Dana and Bronte, as she tells them that she hopes the diner's insurance will cover it. As Dana suggests that Irene get on the phone to her own solicitor, the dollar signs appear in Bronte's eyes. Bronte makes a call to her accomplice explaining that while she was on the verge of bailing, she's just had an idea. Later that evening, Bronte comes downstairs and claims that after feeling worse that afternoon, she's seen her specialist who has run some more tests. Benzene has been found in her system, and it has unfortunately exacerbated her illness. Irene's devastated that the diner issue has also affected Bronte, though Dana can't help but be a little confused as she asks for clarification on a few things. When Dana later asks Bree if benzene contamination could worsen an autoimmune disease, Bree confirms that whilst Bronte would obviously display symptoms from the poisoning, it wouldn't speed up her illness. Dana brings Bree back to the beach house, who offers to go through Bronte's results with her, but Bronte again puts him off, much to Dana's suspicion. Dana later clocks a not too subtle comment to Irene from Bronte about having insurance to rely on, and sure enough, the next morning Irene has had a brainwave. She wants Bronte to sue the diner too. Bronte acts surprised, telling Irene there's no way she could do that, but Irene sees it as the perfect solution. As long as they kept quiet, the insurance company would cover the cost, and Bronte would be more than halfway to reaching her fundraising goal. The alarm bells are ringing loud and clear for Dana at this point, but her attempts to talk Irene out of it are rebuked. She voices her suspicions that Bronte is simply taking advantage of her, but Irene is unable to see the manipulation that has occurred, as she reminds Dana that it was her own idea and to back off. Dana eventually decides to confront Bronte directly, telling her that she knows she's faking it, but Bronte quickly retreats to the bathroom to be sick. Irene is horrified as she comes home to find Dana shouting through the bathroom door for Bronte to give up the act. Irene demands an explanation, but refuses to listen to Dana's theory as she tells her to stay the hell out of it. When Xander also agrees with Irene, it seems Dana is on her own. Meanwhile, Leah is reeling from the news that a second person is suing the diner, and whilst she prays that the insurance will cover the lawsuits, she's all too aware that they'll have to pay in excess and their premiums will go up as a result. Leah is stunned when Dana later informs her that Bronte suing the diner was, in fact, Irene's idea. How will Leah react to the news that her best friend has potentially thrown their business under the bus? Elsewhere in Summer Bay, Rue receives a very tempting offer after hearing from nephew Ryder. Former Salt barman Ryder left the Bay just over 2 years ago, after the glamour of the illicit poker nights being held at the restaurant saw him embark on a whole new career path. Wishing to become a legit casino croupier, Ryder got in touch with Mum Quinn, who works as a singer on international cruise ships. She was soon able to forward him a job advert for a mixologist on a massive new liner, the Pearl of the Sea, which would open up the opportunity to move around the ship and train up as a croupier with the added bonus that he'd get to see the world at the same time. When Ryder's application was successful, the only catch with the dream opportunity was the fact that he would have to leave Summer Bay the very next day. Meanwhile, Leah is reeling from the news that a second person is suing the diner, and whilst she prays that the insurance will cover the lawsuits, she's all too aware that they'll have to pay in excess and their premiums will go up as a result. Leah is stunned when Dana later informs her that Bronte suing the diner was, in fact, Irene's idea. From all accounts since, Ryder has excelled in his new career path, and next week when he contacts Rue, he explains that he's been given a promotion. One of the perks of the new position is that he will be able to bring someone with him on the next cruise, and he invites Rue to join him. Having recently begun the application process to become a foster carer, Rue isn't sure the time is right to be sailing off around the world, but John quite rightly points out that the application could still take several months. It seems Ryder is determined that his aunt should take a break however, and so recruits Marilyn in an attempt to convince her to say yes. Despite the peer pressure, Rue is still wavering. It's very short notice and Alf is also away visiting Martha at the moment. Plus she'd be literally gone for months. However, Marilyn is sure that Alf would support her if she were to take the plunge. It's a cruise around the world, Rue, Marilyn states. I mean, how terrible could it be? Are you being sarcastic? Rue dryly replies. Rue isn't sure that she has her sea legs anymore, despite Marilyn pointing out that she grew up on the Blackcylinder hum. We won't mention the continuity error there in that Alf didn't purchase the boat until 2001. However, having slept on it, the next morning Rue heads to the coffee cart and orders a double shot revealing to Marilyn, Leah and John that she needs to pack extra quick as she has a ship to catch. Rue tells them that Alf was all for it, and the foster agency are also aware. Though she does point out that it means leaving the surf club in John's capable hands. With that, the group bid Rue a quick bon voyage as she heads off on her latest adventure. Rue's departure will mark the beginning of a lengthy on-screen break for the character. After wrapping up the filming of this week's episodes at the end of January, Georgie Parker went straight into rehearsals for a new David Williamson play The Great Divide at Sydney's Ensemble Theatre, which ran from March to April. We saw it, and can confirm she was great. Then, in May, Georgie underwent her second hip replacement in the space of 6 years, a result of living with scoliosis, a curvature of the spine, since she was 13 years old. I'm 3 weeks post-op, Georgie explained in an Instagram post at the beginning of last month. Recovery is going well and I've had the most brilliant support from my family, my workplace and my incredible friends. Practicing patience now while I heal so I can get back to work, baby. We believe that Georgie has now returned to the show, in episodes that will likely air in the UK around January, February.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của Home and Away Spoiler Today. Xin chào.